Okay, see, Article 29 covers. Article 29 has 9 clauses. Article 29 1 to 29 9. Fine. Article 29 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. (29)(1) says that who is entitled. 29(1) says who is entitled to treaty benefits, and that who is a qualified resident. Fine. 29 says that qualified, not resident, sorry, qualified person. 29(1) says that qualified person is entitled to treaty benefits. So 29(1) mentions that qualified person. You need to for your entitlement for treaty benefits, you need to be a qualified person. So this mentions the term qualified person. 29(1). Qualified person. 2 says, when 1 has mentioned qualified person, then 2 will define who is the, 2 will illustrate who is a qualified person. So who is a qualified person? Who is qualified person? Qualified person, QP. Qualified person, for your information, just for a very brief overview, qualified person in 29(2), either you should be an individual, and mind you, this Article 29 is applicable from the perspective of both R and S. Fine, because either of the states, both the states or either of the states can use to adjudge whether this person resident is qualified for whether he is entitled to receive these treaty benefits. Right? So either of the states. Okay, qualified person. So, but in most of the cases we've seen that S state is the limitation is being imposed upon the right of taxation of the state S. So when we will substitute those words, RS, as we've been doing for our entire course, you will find that I would be using most of the times the word S. But that doesn't take away this fact that this is applicable from the perspective of both R and S. Right? Either of the states can adjudge who is qualified person or who is entitled to treaty benefits, who is entitled to receive treaty benefits. So qualified person entitled. The qualified person is entitled to receive treaty benefits. Who is qualified person? Qualified person is an individual or a government contracting state or a publicly traded company or a non-profit organization or a recognized pension fund right? And then one more clause, we'll see that they are illustrations for examples of qualified person. Fine. 3 will actually give you one second. Yes. Yeah. So 29(1) says that qualified persons are entitled to treaty benefits. 29(2) illustrates who is qualified person. 29(3) actually says that even if a person is not a qualified person, even if it is he or she or the legal person is not a qualified person, then also they can receive treaty benefits provided they actively conduct the business. Active conduct of business. So 29(3) is active conduct of business. Active conduct of business. So even if not qualified person, then also treaty benefits if active conduct of business is present. Fine. 4 says even if you are not a qualified person, then also you can get treaty benefits provided in the case of derivative benefits. What is derivative benefits? Okay, I'll explain. Derivative benefits would be Derivative benefits are seen in those cases wherein a company has a certain specific ownership pattern. And in this case, in the case of derivative benefits clause 29(4), we will see the concept of equivalent beneficiary. Equivalent beneficiary. Equivalent beneficiary. Equivalent beneficiary. Okay, fine. If I want to define or explain to you who is an equivalent beneficiary, supposing this is X. Okay, right. X receives dividend from S, and Article 10(2) says that supposing Exco is a company and beneficial owner, resident of R, then the maximum rate of tax that S can impose is what? 5%. WHT 5%. Under the treaty, the maximum tax rate that S can impose is 5%. Fine. Okay. So we would say that S is an equivalent beneficiary if the maximum rate of withholding tax upon a similar item of income, received by X in R, if X receives a similar item of income in R, and then R would have imposed a withholding tax upon that income that would be less than 5%. So withholding tax less than 5%. S imposes withholding tax of 5% under the RS tax treaty. Fine. Okay. X gets a similar income in R, and under the domestic laws of R, X would impose under the domestic laws of R would impose a withholding tax of any percentage less than 5%, less than or equal to 5%. It should not be more. So meaning to say, the benefit received by X under the domestic law of R is equal to or better than the benefit that X receives under the RS treaty. If this is the case, then we will say that yes, X is an equivalent beneficiary. Right? So the concept of equivalent beneficiary will be seen in Article 29(4). Is the concept of equivalent beneficiary clear? The benefit which the concerned person should receive, that should be equal to or better than what the person would have received under the tax treaty. If it is so, then we can say that he is an equivalent beneficiary. Is this point clear?
Yes.
Chani, Rajat, Sahil.
Yes.
Don't worry. Equivalent beneficiary is also explained in 29(6), but then this is the concept. I'll repeat the same thing, but then this is the concept. So derivative benefit, and that will include the concept of equivalent beneficiaries. So the concept, the 29(4), the gist of 29(4) is that even if you are not a qualified person, then also you will be entitled to receive treaty benefits if you have actively conducted the business, or if you have your ownership by equivalent beneficiaries. If the company has ownership by equivalent beneficiaries, 75% or more. So then also, if you are not a qualified person, then also you will be entitled to receive treaty benefits. This is the gist of 29(4). Fine. 29(5) is actually what? 29(5) is discretion or choice or power. Discretion discretionary benefits. Even if you're not a qualified person, then also if it is in the discretion of RRS or RNS tax authorities, then they can give you the treaty benefits. Obviously, they would give you treaty benefits even if you are not a qualified person, but then you should be able to explain to them that giving the treaty benefits, X should be able to explain that giving the treaty benefits, even though I'm not a qualified person, giving me the treaty benefits is in accordance with the object and purpose of the convention. Right? So in other words, even if X is not a qualified person, then also R or S tax authorities or both may give treaty benefit to X if they feel that whatever X is doing, that is not treaty abuse. Point clear? So this is discretion in 5, discretionary benefit. 6 will actually define. 6 is definition clause, definition of various terms, including equivalent beneficiary, connected persons, shares. There are several clauses which are several terms which are used in this article which are defined in 29(6). Fine. 7 says that 7 actually makes a reference to mutual agreement procedure. 7 says that R and S tax authorities will mutually decide mutual agreement, will mutually decide how to settle, how to apply this article 29. Fine. So this is mutual agreement. That is why I made a reference. That is why I explained. This is mutual agreement. Not just.
Sorry to interrupt. But the definition is given in 7, I think.
1 second.
Can you check one?
6 is definition. 7 is this. See that photo which I sent you, which I shared. See that?
I have checked in the Model Tax Convention. That's why I said.
No. Just see that photograph. I'll come to that as well. I've been saying this from the first day that Sahil runs. I have to put a leash. I know what I'm saying. And if others also have the same doubt, please that is why I mentioned. Now please refer to that photograph which I shared. You will find that definitions are contained. Got the point?
Understood.
Right? Definitions are contained in 6. 7 is mutual agreement that the contracting states tax authorities, they will decide how to settle this. 8 is the PE clause, issues pertaining to permanent establishment, and there's a mathematical formula. I'll explain that to you. If you will read, you will not get anything what is there, but I'll explain that to you. So 8 is the case of entitlement in case of PEs. Fine. And 9 is your principal purposes test, PPT, principal purpose test. And in the last 4 or 5 years, I have seen huge seminars and webinars and conferences focus upon PPTs, courts deliberating PPTs and ad infinitum PPT, principal purposes test. That is 9. Principal purposes test is nothing but it is a general anti-avoidance rule. Fine, general anti-avoidance rule. PPT is like the last resort, is like the last sword, last bullet that any of the tax authorities can fire. PPT, in fact, if till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I have already told you that Article 29 overrules everything in the convention. Even if benefits have been given other provisions, 29 overrules. 10, 11, 12, etc. 29 overrules. But even if benefits have been given under 1, 2, 3 and so on, even if you are a qualified person, then also if 29(9) comes into picture, then under application by invoking 29(9), any of the tax authorities can deny the treaty benefits. It is the last bullet. And obviously there are certain conditions. And what are those conditions, we'll see. But then ultimately, when they would deny the treaty benefits, because of majorly two conditions. If two conditions are present, supposing S and R, fine, whatever has been said and done, and now you reach 29(9), and the same case, in spite of everything, this active business, derivative benefit, everything said and done, in spite of this, S feels that this arrangement by which X is deriving income, this arrangement or scheme or transaction or contractual arrangement or legal facilitation, whatever, arrangement is a very, because the word uses arrangement. So arrangement is extremely broad. Arrangement can be a company, can be a joint venture, can be a contract, can be a scheme, partnership entity, anything and everything. So if S feels that under the arrangement through which X is deriving this income, this arrangement, when X was implementing this arrangement in my state, one of the principal purposes that X had in his mind was that I want to get a treaty benefit of RS treaty. If when X was creating this arrangement, if one of the principal purposes is chief, main. One of the principal purposes that X had in his mind when he was implementing this arrangement, and one of the principal purposes was that X wanted to get this reduced rate of taxation. Fine. So this is the first condition, that one of the principal purposes of this arrangement was to get a treaty benefit. And because of this, S feels that if I grant a treaty benefit to X, then this will not be in accordance with the object and purpose of the convention. So when these two major conditions are satisfied, that if arrangement had one of its purpose as obtaining of the treaty benefit, and if S feels that because of this, the object and purpose of the convention, that is granting object and purpose of convention is what? Prevention of double taxation, that would not be satisfied. Then because of this, S can deny the treaty benefit to X in spite of whatever has been mentioned in 29(1) or the convention itself. So this is the last resort. Fine. This is the end weapon. This is the atomic weapon. Last weapon. Fine. This is the last weapon. This takes care of everything. But then again, it's although it's quite elaborate, it's just one sentence, quite elaborate, but then it leaves a lot of room for, it's quite broad discretionary powers. And in spite of this, S sees that this arrangement, one of the principal purposes was that X wanted to obtain a treaty benefit, and if I give him the treaty benefit, this would lead to what? This would not be in accordance with the object and purpose of the convention. Fine. So that is why I will deny. That is why I will deny. But then, if in spite of this, if X is able to prove, or if I feel that in spite of this arrangement, in spite of this arrangement in which he was having a principal purpose as obtaining of the treaty benefits, if I feel that in spite of that, if I grant him the benefit, then object and purpose would remain intact, then I can give him the benefit. So there's a lot lot of scope for interpretation either this way or that way, and that is why when I mentioned, I've seen so many seminars and conferences on and judicial decision either going this way or that way. So PPT is will read and you will find that it's lot of room for interpretation either this way or that way. But yes, this is your Article 29, and see, just a summary took so long.